Dave here. How are you? I've got my sexy blue specs on. Midweek chat and also a little bit of doing something. Now, I'm going to do something with my Moxon vise that I've made for my bench. This is pretty easy. I did do a video on it, and I will put a link in the description box down the bottom as to where that video is. It's a kind of a thing that every now and then I use, but when I need it, it's invaluable. So at the moment, this is a piece of 6mm ply that I've bonded a piece of the laminate to the top of, or to the ply. It's the same laminate. These are strips that they give you for when you buy benchtop material. They give you some strips just in case you need to do a cut of an end, and then you can put these on to close the end grain, basically if particle board has a grain, so you can finish off a benchtop. Say if I was creating a bay for an oven and I wanted to bring the top up either side, I'd need to trim one because it's very hard to get it accurate from a factory. So anyway, the reason I'm doing this is I'm putting a router lift in my router table, and the area that I've done is deeper to accommodate the Craig phenolic router plate, which has been in there for years. Now, people were asking about NBN. Fingers crossed, 8 o'clock to 12 o'clock this Friday morning. The technician, everyone said, yep, they're coming. The guys that the retailer has said, yes, all good. NBN.co have got in touch with me. They've said, yep, just confirmed they sent me a text. Hit 1 for yes. 2, if anyone's feeling sick at the property. 3, if you've got someone there that you know has the bug. So 1 straight away. Getting a weird double audio. Well, I'm hoping that's not happening with everyone. Maybe sound and audio good, Wayne? Russell, still good? Is anyone, oh, good on you, Stephen. It must have been a situation in your own place. Kind of maybe you had something else going on and it was kind of bouncing it around a bit. Anyway, we digress. Oh, something I bought. I'm a little bit of a tragic. Ever since Ian Kerry got me hooked on these things, and they are just beautiful. I'm going to be using the number 7 today. I've always wanted a Yankee screwdriver, and I found one on Gumtree. Now these things, that's there, so you hold on to the end, forwards, reverse, or stationary. How nice is that? Anyway, when I first got it, I could hardly move the thing. It was all gummed up. So ordinarily you're supposed to use graphite powder in these. A little bit of graphite powder down there and on the thread, I should say, and away it goes, and it doesn't attract any dust or dirt that gets pulled back into the mechanism. But I couldn't find my graphite powder, and I was a little bit excited, so I put a dollop of oil in there and then wiped as much of it off as possible. Now, it's not going to get any work outside that I think of anyway, but it's magic. It's so nice. This one's made in West Germany. It's a Stanley made in West Germany. Can you believe it? Audio's fine there. Thanks, Dave. So I'm very excited about that. Now I've got to get the special bits that go in the end. So how you put it in is you pull the top down. It's like a little release on the Centratec chucks. It's exactly the same principle. Pull it down, a shaft pulls back, like the key pulls back. You slide the thing in, it's got a little keyway in it, and then you'll release, and that little shaft comes back, or the little key drops back into the keyway, and that locks the bit in. So I'm going to get myself a full set of bits for this thing. But Jeremy, if you're watching, which I know you are because you just made a comment earlier, have you ever seen a Yankee screwdriver, and do you have one, and have you got bits for it, and do you like it? So I asked Jeremy because he's involved with Stanton. Oh, one of the other things, look at this. You watch this. Fits in the Stanton bench. Ta-da! How cool is that? It does look brand new, Stephen. Look, on the end, it's got a little graze. Now, I don't know what to do. Yes, I used to call a hammer a Yankee screwdriver as well. I don't know what to do. Whether just to leave this one alone or maybe sand all the paint off and give it another coat. But something that's interesting, it's almost the same color as the resin or the cellulose acetate knobs and handles there. So I'm going to pop that over there. Going to do a little bit of a read. Derek, audio's fine. Giles, everyone, hello from Canada. Dave, audio's fine there. Russell, CRC 556. Silicon spray. Yeah, I could do that. Wayne, my dad called a hammer. Yes. Stephen, you used to be able to get Phillips heads. You can get all of them. I've checked on eBay. I'm going to grab some. Let me know if you find the bits. I already have. I checked on eBay. They've got them for sale. And also on Amazon. So if I find a link, an affiliate link, I'll throw it in the description box down the bottom as well, because I'm going to get some. I'll have a look around for the best place to get them, and I'll let you guys know. Mongrel 85. Oh, sorry, Derek, you've Phillips head for yours. Mongrel 85, I've had one for a while, don't know what happened to it. It's cordless and variable speed. Of course it is. Love it. Would be hey, I have one of that ages ago. Very useful and also precise when you screw. Yeah. How often do your wrist get really tired? Even with a ratchet, with the Turner ratchet screwdriver I've got, my wrist gets really tired. And that thing, the only thing is if it slips, it's going to burrow, drill a hole right beside the screw, and that could be a problem. So I'm thinking Phillips heads will be best. The straight slot screws could be an issue. All right, so I don't know if I mentioned it. Yes, Friday, so it's only 2 days away, and Ngian. So this may be the last live show that I do that's at the lower quality. And you can see here, part of my head's disappearing from the light behind me. If I move over this way, in between the lights, it won't be as bad. But that's, all of those issues should disappear. God, I'm so looking forward to it. Okay, yes, in Australia, I'm pretty sure. Russell, I had one many years ago and loved it. Derek, mine has an oak handle, was my grandfather's. Well, my most recent woodworking relative was Arthur, who was a great-grandfather. I don't know if these were around then, but very exciting. Am I the only tragic that gets excited about a new tool coming into the workshop? Even if it's something simple like this. I don't need this, but it's like when my mother said to me when I built this workshop, what are you going to make? And I said, I'm going to make David happy. And she just couldn't. It didn't sink in. Oh dear. Anyway. All right. So first thing I want to do is show you how my Moxon vise works. And also a little enhancement that I've done to it that you may want to copy yourselves if you feel the need. So I'm going to switch the camera down to the other one down here that's just waiting for me. I'll do a quick read first. Govinda, I also have one of these with a plastic handle. I bought it from India. This is always of high quality. Oh, thank you so much, mate. That's the whole point, Dave. Exactly is. There's always a first time. All right, here we go. I'm going to switch cameras down to the other one. And you'll notice that I'm not wearing specs. And so I'm struggling a little bit seeing, but I'll get there. Now down here, this is my Moxon vise. On the other side, it has plywood. Basically, I wanted to laminate the thing. My Stanton benches are either MDF or ply, so I wanted it to have something in common with the benches. This one obviously is MDF. I could have done one of these with MDF, but the ply in a vise situation as a jaw is slightly stronger. Now I've had to rebate the backs of the 20mm holes out for these clamps to be able to fit through. So I'll put one through here, there. Oh, hold on, I'll go to, I might go to this one. And it just slides through. It's a bit of a push, but it's in. All right, all the way. I'm going to do the same down the other end. down here, and it went in. Now when they're in at that point, now I can hook them into the corresponding holes in the apron. This is why the apron is unique and works so well. You know what, I'm going to go to the next ones out. I sound a little bit kind of vague, and it's only because I don't use it a lot. But as I said, when I need it, it's fantastic. Okay, pull that one up, and this one up, and we're going to go in 4 holes in from the end, like so. Now when I've got it there, I'm going to utilize that hole and the other one down the other end that you can't see me pointing to. And I've got 3 different types of dogs here. I've got John's long dog from Yellow Box Shed. I've got Peter Parfit's from UJK, so Path dog, and I've got TSO's dog. Now TSO's got a little bit of taper on the end, it's aluminium, and it's a slightly narrower dog than these two. So for this application, I want to use this because I need it to have slip. Now this is going to be the rails for my Moxon vise. What do you think? I love this stuff. Now there's affiliate links in the description box down below for TSO. If you're interested in getting any of these, I'm not forcing your arm up around behind your back. I'm going to use their tightening knob. I could also use John's one from Yellow Box Shed or the Festool. Basically all it is an 8mm thread with a handle on it. You can make your own if you wanted to. It's going to go in there, and I'm going to come around the back behind the apron and screw it on. Nearly there. That one's done. I'm going to go up the other end and slide this one on. You won't see me while I'm doing that. Looking through the top camera, you'll see me. I'm doing it there because I've got the legs behind here as well that I don't want to run into. And I've made the Moxon long enough so that it's going to work without too much flex. I didn't want it too long because I'd get a little bit of flex. Let me have a look here. Time to buy the plans. Oh, tell you what, have you made the apron with your path guide? Yes, I have done. I did that on Mark 1. So it's pretty easy. And the plans that I sell give you all that information. So there's a link. You want a Stanton bench or want the plans, click the link in the description box down the bottom. Here we go. I'm going to put it up on here, like so. Sliding on, sliding on. There you go. How nice. I could take full size so you can see the whole thing. There you go. Now, I now don't have to struggle holding the thin piece. See, this is the piece that I'm going to plane, and that's almost impossible. That's only 6mm thick. And look at the flex in it. So I drop that into there, and then I just push it up against it. Bring it back a little. Slide that up and tip it up at an angle. Got it. Same at this end. See, the thing is, I'm trying to make these things with stuff that I already own. Why go out and buy a heap of stuff? Let's just tip it down a little. Yeah, a little bit more. The reason I'm moving it is I don't want to run into, oh, that's holding it beautifully. When I'm planing, I don't want to run into the bench down here. That's got him. Sound good? You like it? Yeah, look, they're around about, I don't know what the diameter is exactly, but they're just a little bit narrower. They make tight dogs and they make their standard dogs. I like their standard dogs because they do have that just a little bit of movement so they don't jam in there and you're going like this to try and get them out. They're really, really nice. Okay, so a little bit of my green tea. All right, specs on for this part. And we'll use the number 7. This is the, you know what it is. It's a beautiful machine. Put it up to there. All right, here we go. Let's see how we go. This is Laminex, or Formica, that I'm planing at the moment. Now I've glued this to the plywood with just liquid nails from Selleys, whatever it is. It's a construction adhesive. I'm not using my drying plane yet, but I will soon. I need to take a little bit more. How's that looking? I've got to be careful I don't create a hump. So I'm getting it down. Cut a little bit more off it per pass at the moment, just dropping it down. When I get it down to the wood, I'm going to switch over. Now we're getting into the glue. Whoop, come on. There's just a little bit of a grab there. How is it for straight? That's pretty good. I'll get my plane out now. I like this one for doing this part. It's just such a nice planer. It works beautifully. Back it up a little. Ah, yeah, that was way too savage from when I was using it the other day. Showing everyone. Switch that around ever so slightly. Ah, this is such a nice plane. I entered this in a competition. Australian Wood Review. Here we go. Now that is why I like using this thing. It's just the PMV11 blade that's in that thing is amazing. All right, take it out of the vise. Have a look down the side. Straight as, straight as, straight as. Switch the cameras back. Well, I nearly hit stop the stream. All right, how are we doing for time? 17 minutes. Don't you love it? I love it. Okay, definitely that's a real power grip. Yep, use the side of your plane as a straight level. I could do. That's an interesting thought. If the side of the plane is straight, side of mine is definitely very straight. So that's just lovely. Now, why am I doing this? Well, on the new lift that I'm going to put in, I arranged with Carbotech that I'm going to buy that one that I used in the video that I'm making. And it has these set screws or grub screws that have got a very fine point. And in my router table at the moment, I'll get you a photo. In there, I've got particle board, basically that is the substrate for the laminate top around my table saw, and that's the area that my router table drops into. My plan is to cut this strip up and line the inside of that after I've lowered it down to be able to, I have to thickness this, obviously, because this is around 7 millimeters thick at the moment. I've got to get it down to around 3.5 millimeters, or maybe even 3 millimeters. So I'll do that through the thickness planer. There you go, Russell. I'll be running this through the machine. Not right at the moment, but I will be doing that. And then I've got to create little rounds on the end of here to match the rounds here, because that's what's in my router table already. Okay, so hence the phenolic plate, nice and thick. And as I say, I have to do this. And this is the lift here. I'll grab it for you and show you what I'm talking about. So this is the lift that I'm going to put in, and it has the same rounds. It's exactly the same size as, let me get this. put this over the front of it. It's exactly the same size as my Craig and the same radius is on the corner, all of that stuff. And there's all the lift mechanism and everything underneath. Now, the other day, I did make comment about my Makita router that I've put in it, and I've taken it out of the lift. I'll probably end up still staying with the Triton in the lift, but this is the plate. Okay, this is my old 40-year-old Makita router, and you'll notice down here, those two screws there line up perfectly with the bush insert that Makita supplies for their router. So it'd be like a copy ring insert that goes there that has a little bush, and you can follow templates with it. So I've lined it up with those two screws. Then these screws here, which are 8mm countersunk screws that go all the way through. I've drilled it through this plate, or through the base plate of the router itself, and that gives it a lot of support. It's holding on really well. Nylock nuts, spring washers. I probably should use nylock nuts, but spring washers and a washer, it's locked it in position. As I said, these things were never built to be suspended. So hence the little base plate that went onto these routers, it's only a little plastic thing, held on with 4 tiny screws. Not enough for you to lock it onto the underside of a router table. So that's what I'm doing. Now on the lift, I did mention, it's got these little set screws. So just here, I don't know if you can see it, hold it steady, little set screws, and they're my adjusters to get the table level. And then here, I'm going to be putting these guys in. Now these also are another countersink. I think these are a 6mm countersink, maybe, yeah, 6 I think. So at M6, we'll go down through there. These ones have got a nylock nut on the end, and I'll be fastening it via, fixing it, drilling a hole through, and I'm going to use a bit of this as a packer because I don't want to pull down, put too much pressure, so I'll set this absolutely perfect. There are no set screws either side of this one. It's designed to work another way in the router table that Carbotech have. So I'm kind of making it, tuning it. Let's say tuning. Sounds better than Jerry built. I'm tuning it to fit my table. So that's how it's going to happen. So that's all very exciting. I'm very excited about that. Now also, something else that's very exciting is 2 things, maybe 3 things, but we'll start off with number 1. No, it probably won't accept your router. Get one of these if you want. The Jessams have got a motorized lift and all that kind of stuff. Build it, and it's just one of my most important tools now. Thanks you. Relax and enjoy music. It's hard. It really is hard to make claim to having one of the best benches in the world, but because it's mine. So if someone else says it, that's easy. It's easy. It's not your heavy duty bench. I keep on telling people, this is not a bench for smashing and pounding. It's not an anvil. It won't take it. This is a bench. This is this is a friend in the workshop. This is another set of hands for you. This holds things really well. This will hold things inside the house. You can put this bench on an antique table. It's got anti-slip cushion strip under each foot and also right across the back of the apron. Wherever it makes contact with what it's sitting on, it's going to protect it. And that also stops it sliding around. Now you saw the effort that I was putting then, and the bench moved just a little bit. That was a fair bit of effort I was putting onto it. I like it. I like it a lot. That you can get it here on stantonbench.com.au, or you can get it at TSO Products, or you can get it on my Etsy store. So that's where they are. They're different prices here and there. But if you go to TSO Products or my Etsy store, They're the correct price. Cole Hosey, how are you? Now, Cole is the man in Australia that is Mr. Gifkin's Jig. And I told him yesterday, and only yesterday, that I consider him as a pillar of the woodworking society. So I think the Gifkin's Jig has a truckload of respect. And Cole is an unbelievably fine craftsman. Whenever I watch him do stuff, and he shows off his boxes at the Timber and Working with Wood show, the Timber Tools and Artisans show. I love seeing what he's bringing down. And his wife Pam is fantastic. She jumps in and does all the display. I think she runs the whole show. Cole just does what he's told. It's fun. What was I going to say? Okay, interesting things. Seeing this as a chat, why not? I've shown you a little bit of woodwork. So the chat is my Facebook page, the Dave Stanton Livestream Facebook page, which is a private group. You're more than welcome to join. Send me a request to join, and I'll have a quick look and see if you're a nice person. I don't let horrible people in. I only let nice people in. And so I tried clicking on the link this morning, disappeared. And I think, oh, I've overstepped the boundaries a little bit with what I'm allowed to do, and they've canned me. And then I went to have a look at Aussie Makers site as well. Now, there's a link down in the description for James is going to kill me for saying this. I forget the name. Anyway, the link's down there. Now, Aussie Makers, wood, metal, anything. Have a look. Anyway, they've got a competition. And it's open to Australia and New Zealand. And it's a $150 gift card from Carbatech. I nearly didn't agree to tell anyone about it because everyone is going to say, Carbatech. That's all we hear from you is bloody Carbatech. You know the relationship with me and with them. I do a couple of videos for them. I work 1 day a week, even though I haven't been there for about 7 or 8 weeks, a couple of months. And I'm probably not going there anytime soon either. You know, there's no need. I'm up here. I do things. Anyway, so that's the link. That's as far as it goes. I'm not in their pocket. They're not in my pocket. You know. So, Cole, thank you very much. Excellent. So that's the first thing: is this competition. $150 gift card. It runs for 2 weeks. The condition is if you win the gift card. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you win the gift card, you have to show what you bought with the gift card and something you've made. I think that's about it. Anyway, have a look and it will tell you the proper details for the comp. So that was that. Jump in, do that. It costs you nothing to do it. Why not? So Facebook has updated. So that's why when I went to look on my page, I couldn't get in. It was blank. So Facebook has it's released a new version. And so it's going to be a little bit interesting at the moment as we go from the old version to the new version. Some pages aren't going to show up. I don't know why they've done it. Maybe I don't know. I'm not even, shut up. Have you ever talked yourself into a hole? I'm sure you have. You start saying something, and next thing, your mind's racing away in the background thinking, should I say this? Should I say that? Should I say the other? And then you've got this little judgment panel. You know, you've seen those films where there's a good guy sitting on the shoulder here and a bad guy like the devil and, you know, an angel, and they're telling you what to say. Well, both of these guys told me to say, shut up, David. Keep on with the show. So I will. Now, what else have I got here? Let me have a look, see if I can find anything. Okay, so have another look at these two screws, because if the video isn't coming through too well, this might work. So those two holes in the middle of the plate, of the mount plate, when you find yourself in a hole, stop digging. Okay, so you've got there the two little screw points for the template bushing that you can put on there. So they're your locations, and then we've got the hole router as you can see from the side. And if I've got another photo, no, I haven't. I thought I'd have another photo, but you can see where I put the larger screws. And the thing looks like Swiss cheese. You just wonder how much strength is left in it. And there's a truckload of strength there. Now, the other thing is, I was going to say, that link that I put in for the CMT bit extension, I was surprised. It ended up costing me, because I'm a Prime member with, I've got Amazon Prime, so anything over $49 I think is free delivery, even from the States. That link that I showed you in Australia, it cost me $54. So that's how much was actually taken out of my bank account when I bought the thing. I was chuffed. I think that's pretty good. It's going to be another week or two before it arrives. Well, I can wait. I'm patient. Not. All right. So Russell, the salesman, first class, first woodworkers, and after that they were salesmen. That's the thing. That's the thing. It's not as though, you know, they're just kids that work for McDonald's or something like that, where they, you know, grab a salesman, throw them in. If they perform all right, keep them. If they're rubbish, eventually get rid of them. There's a big screening process for anyone who wants to actually join the staff. And you put on as casual for a long time. I was casual for at least a year. And then, you know, slowly you might be invited to become a permanent or a permanent part-time. And you have to have a decent amount of knowledge as far as woodworking is concerned. So it's not just an ordinary store. All right, Stephen, the guys at Carpet Action, yes, just what they said. Cole, you do it all the time. Do it all the time. Yep. Oh, do you want to see how are we doing for time? past. I'm going to move this over here. Now, the chessboard that I was making with Vicky is coming up okay. Now, this is the one that I put the resin on the other day, and it doesn't look too bad. And that's after I had a couple of little bumps in it. So what I did was I got the low angle block plane. I've got a Rider low angle block, and it's a very, very nice plane. And I just shaved off a couple of the bumps, and then I went over the whole board with 400 grit paper and a sanding block and leveled it all off. And now any little dust bunnies that were there and any high points have all disappeared. So what I'm going to do next is I will pour, you know what, how about we do it on the show? How about I do the next pour now? Because I want to show you something else that I'm going to do at the end. We've got half an hour. I haven't really set up for this, but I'm going to do it. And I'm going to use, Steve Bruford gave me a suggestion, to use one of these applicators. Now this is designed for gel fix contact cement. You know, you screed it around, it's got little prongs sticking down, and it leaves a bit and holds it up to a certain height. And then the product, this stuff, will flow back in where, you know, gel fix cement, it stays up proud until you put it down, and then it kind of supports it as it goes down. Only if you're interested. Only if you're interested. I'm going to put these other things away. But what do you think of my Moxon Vice? I love it. Oh, the other thing. Look, I listen to what people say. Tongue depressor. That's what I'm going to use instead of a piece of plywood. It's going to be nice and clean. It won't leave any deposits of anything. So I'm going to pull my Moxon Vice apart to start. So I'm not there with it hanging off the front. How easy is that? I've got to rotate these down. There it goes. And this one, rotate it until it comes down. Pull it back a little. There it goes. Down and down and out. You didn't think it was going to come off, did you? I was going to do a little bit of sanding, but I decided against it because I don't want to create dust particles in the air while I do this. Move my Yankee screwdriver and the number 7 turner. Now, I don't know if there's any voting on these in this competition by the Australian Wood Review, but it was difficult to work out where to put mine in as an entry, whether it was going to be furniture, or whether I was going to go into boxes and bowls, or whether it was going to be art. So I got in touch with them and they said, yep, put it into art. So I did. And there's a couple of other entries in there that's quite nice. There's a handbag that's made out of wood, which I saw was really interesting. And another one was a chicken head or a rooster head design that's outside a hen house. I thought that was pretty cute too. But I don't care how cute they are. I want you to vote for, for my plane. I'm a shocker. All right, let's get that board. Pop it up here. I'm going to do a little read. Put the blue tape fence on first. Dave can't get a DIT 18 till July. What's a DIT 18? DIT. I don't know what that is. I don't know. I'm going to grab the resin gear. Ah, dear. It's been cold lately. It's getting a little bit warmer today, but to give you an idea, the days have been kicking around how many degrees Celsius? 14 tops, maybe 13 or 14, getting down to around, the other night got down to around 4, maybe 5. Canberra cops it worse than we do. I don't know what it's been like down in Melbourne. And the Northern Hemisphere, of course, you're going into... I'm not going to do blue tape. Have I used the plane yet? Yeah, I just used it then, Cole. Look back. Look back. You'll see sawdust in it. I've just been doing some work here. See, this is, if you're late, normally I make people go to the naughty corner, but it's a lovely plane, don't you reckon? It works beautifully. It's designed to do what it does, and it does it well. It looks a little bit slick. And I have the fence for it, the right angle fence, the jointed fence is down the back. I'm thinking about putting a shelf under my turner display. It's lovely in Coffs Harbour. I'm thinking about putting a shelf down behind the display and putting this plane and the fence on the shelf. And I've got a set to make a block plane or a smaller plane, maybe a little smoother, and I'll put that beside it. So looks nice. No notification, Janice. Wow. Did you get, have you got the bell rung and also email notifiable activated? That's the thing that you need to do. Also on the Facebook pages, I put the link up there. I always do that half an hour prior. Cool tool, that plane. It is indeed. Let's get this happening. Now, one of the reasons I didn't do too well last week was because I didn't mix up enough product. So I've got some more of this stuff. This was over in Vicky's studio. She uses a lot of resin over there. I'm going to pour more than I need. Remember what I'm going to do here. We're going to... That's a fair bit more than I need. Now remember, I'm going to mix up twice. Used to get notifications. I don't know, Janice. Check the settings. Now that's in that one, and I'm going to leave that one there. I'm going to pour the hardener into another cup, so it's exactly the same. And then I'll mix it all up in... I might mix it up in this one, because this is... I don't want to get stuck and pour it in all of a sudden. It's overflowing everywhere. Let me have a look. Where are we going to? Yeah, a little bit more. This is a good way of doing it. So on the side of these cups are the areas where people hold on, like the little grip sections. That'll do you. So it's the same. Right, glove time before I start mixing. And always have dry hands. Whenever you put these things on, don't be tempted to blow into them, because as you exhale, you get a truckload of moisture will go inside, and the things are going to stick to your stick everywhere. So it's just in, straight in. Now also, if I can find it, I'm going to throw my dust mask on if I can find it. Vicky comes over and borrows it, and next thing you know, I turn around and try and find it, and it's gone. Give me a second. As I say, I wasn't really going to do this, and now I can't find. There it is, found it. So we're going to be good. I'm not going to expose myself to too much danger here. All right, putting this on. So I'm going to sound a little bit different. Good morning, Les. A Yankee with 2 bits only, probably at the least 40 years old, picked it up at the dump. Ha! Besek used to get, what's the shelf life of the resin? It's a good life, it's a good shelf life, but in here, when I mix it, 55 minutes is what they say. Tipping all of that out. And we should be pretty good. Not the cleanest, but I think I'll be okay. Pour it in. Just let it drain for a while, because there's a fair bit sits there, because it's pretty thick. Okay, Janice, we might let Kiwis in soon. You don't want to come to Melbourne. No, it's not my Darth Vader mask. This is actually better for this kind of gear, because this is a P3. I've got P3 filters in it. When I'm doing stuff like on the lathe, I try to use that Darth Vader mask, the bigger one. All right, that's going to do me. And use my tongue depressor for stirring. Got to stir slowly. Now we've got 4 minutes, so it's 9:43. So 9:47. If you guys can let me know. I've got the reverse cycle air on in here at the moment. It's 14 outside, 18 in here. May the force be with you. So stirring is the important thing. Now I don't have my heat gun over here, but I will go and get it a little bit later on. Marissa, how are you? Now I sent you a message, Marissa, to find out how your pugs were. Now, for those who don't know, Marissa has 3 pugs, or did have, and you know what? Today is Barry's birthday. He would have been 15 today. So you get these little notifications on your calendar, and when I woke up this morning and just checked the calendar, I was a little bit sad, but he had a pretty good life, you know, considering what dogs around the world have to put up with. He had a pretty good life. Now I don't have the overhead camera like Carl Cam on at the moment, but what I might do is set this up. Oh, Brian, I knew someone was going to ask me that. This is from Carbotech, is where I get it. You got to think, one of the reasons that I work for Carbotech is I get a staff discount. And you know, it's a very, very good discount. And it's not because I do this.
all of the employees at Carbatech get a staff discount. And it's substantial. So for me to buy the resin for myself, and I don't buy it for anyone else, just me and Vicky get this, we get a very good deal. Now there's all sorts of people do resin in Australia. There's Carbatech and also Boat Coat, B-O-A-T, C-O-A-T. Now there's different types. There's some that are kind of a plastic. Some are an epoxy resin. So there's all different types. But this one, yes, members of MedShed get a 10% discount. It's fantastic. Where are we up to? 9:46, only a minute to go. Marissa, we're all doing great here. I'll PM you after the video. I have tons of photos to share with you. Pugs are great. Hope all is well with you and your family. Thank you, Marissa. Getting warmer there, is it? Marissa's up in Canada. And let me see if I can remember your pug's name. Bullet, Pistol, and I forget the other one. I forget the third one. This is fantastic. Nearly there. Nearly there. Yeah, so as I say, Carbatech have been pretty good to me, and they're pretty good for social groups like, as I say, men's sheds. And they've got that deal that they're doing, the $150 gift card for that Wood, Metal, Anything group on Facebook. If you have a look in my description box at all the links, you'll also find that Facebook page. Click on that and you'll sniper and you can go into the running for a $150 gift card for if you're in Australia or New Zealand. Giles, Dave, I'll find out tomorrow if I'm going back to school of cabinet making next week. That'll be good for you. How have you found the entrapment? We've been loving it. We absolutely love it. All right, here we go. This is the interesting part. I'm going to leave that sit for a little bit. I'm going to raise this camera up a little higher so you can see what I'm doing. Making sure that doesn't fall over the wrong way in there. Now for those that have only just tuned in, this is a chessboard that I created on the CNC, and Vicky did the colouring in on it, and then we're putting resin over the top to seal it all. Tip that up a little. I think that'll do it. There you go. So now you can see the board. It's not going to be horribly bright. Here we go. Target. And also it was suggested I go around the outside. There's a lot of bubbles in it at the moment. And also it was suggested I use an orbital sander underneath to vibrate it. Now after I did all the sanding of the 400 grit, I cleaned it all, like I blew it all off with a compressor, then I went over it with a wet rag and then I dried it. Okay, that's going to do me. Now I want to see how this thing works. That is pretty good. What a great idea, Steve. Thank you. What do you think, guys? I'm going to do it a couple of directions. So I'm just getting this direction done first. Yeah, it'll be so good when I get onto the NBN and you'll be able to see this in full HD and the clarity will pick up brilliantly. Oh, this is lovely. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is rotate it. One turn. What do you reckon? So I'm working like a grader at the moment. I'm tilting the spatula so that the excess is running away from the end back towards the middle of the board, but hopefully leaving enough on the sides. Oh, this is lovely. This is almost like I'm going across both directions, and I'm going to sneak a little bit here to make sure that I get a good cover. And because it's high viscosity, it's not rolling over the edge, which is great. I'm pulling a little bit away from there just so it doesn't get tempted to do what I just said it won't do. Don't go, whoa, nearly lost it. Now also at the end, I'm going to cover it, but in a different way, because I did get a few dust bunnies that blew underneath. This is beautiful. So I'm going to show you very soon how that works. It's a little trick that we came up with. When we went to I think it was a St. Vincent de Paul's or Salvo's, we found a couple of these things. I'm going to show you very soon how they work. I just had to get that corner right. This is so much better. Thank you so much, Steve. This is a great idea. But the gloss on it comes up beautifully. There were people the other week saying that, or last weekend saying, the squares came up red. Well, maybe a little bit. But the colour, I'm really amazed. That's just an ordinary lead colouring in pencil that she's used. This is the best. I love this applicator. Rotate it another 90 degrees and come down this side. There we go. So you guys chat away in the background over there. That's fine. That's what this is all about. This is just a midweek hangout, and I'll do a little bit here and there, but getting the edges perfect is the important thing as far as I can see. Remember, I'm not a authority on resin. I'm experimenting, and last week's show that was the title, experimenting with resin. I've dropped a little bit on the table there. Maybe I should have put the greaseproof or the baking paper down first. You're curious to see what I'm going to do at the end. See, oh, just holding on there ever so carefully. I don't dare look up while I'm doing this. As I said, I had half an hour to do this. I knew it was going to take a while. Getting it spread out is the main thing. Now, I'm also going to attack this with the heat gun in about an hour. Not yet. Oh, so good. Just to get those little bubbles out of the way. And then I can show everyone on the show next weekend, when we've got the NBN running, how it all went. Across this end. And back up that way. It's important to get it down into all of these little channels that I created with the CNC machine. Now, who remembers what CNC stands for? Oh, this is great. One more turn. Okay, let's have a look. How long do you have to work this before it's too tacky? I've got an hour or so. Just like being there, Dave. Great relief from COVID. Don't you dare damage that bench top. Steve, heat guns are so handy. I have a deal. Great for separating PVC pipe fittings. Ron, there are only some squares red. Yes, correct. Computer numeric control is correct. Stephen, I used to have thought it was computer navigated cutting, but I was wrong. When the guys from Avid got in touch with me about getting a machine here for me to use, they thought that was a little bit funny that I thought that. I spoke to one person, and he said to me, Dave, what happened was a whole lot of computer boffins got together to work out what the hell to call it. And so that's how it was. Oh, this is so good. This takes time. I'm sorry, but that's all there is to it. And you know, when I first put it on, I thought, oh, I've made too much. But no. This is just the right amount. You know, that's looking really, really nice. I've got a bit to do here. I think this rotating is a great idea. It's probably as boring as all get up for you guys watching, but it's something I wanted. Oh, that's good. So you can just bring up a little bit more from spots you know that has a little bit. Oh, I spilt one, bugger. That's all right. I'll clean that off when it's finished. Oh, it's not much. And it's gone down the hole of the top, so it hasn't gone onto the top. Wayne's probably there saying, I told you, Dave, put the blue tape on. Because this is what I would have been doing myself and just hanging out doing it. I'd probably have the music playing. Oh, there you go. I mentioned earlier I'm an Amazon Prime member, and in Australia it's cheap as. It's the cheapest in the world. I think it's $7 a month. I get free delivery on Prime items, and also I get free music, videos. It's great. Right. Absolutely magic. I'm going to put that on there, like that. And I'm going to move this down the back. So I'm going to be out of the way for a second. Oh no, first of all, I'll put the level on this and see what it's like. Where are we? If this is dead level, and it should be because the assembly table underneath it is, well, if you have a look at that levels bubble, that is pretty damn fine. And then back past my green tea on the strips. That is also perfect. Okay, I'm going to do it here. I'm going to leave it there, and I'm going to show you what I do. So instead of using the box, we got this. I'll change the cameras over to this one. See this? Looks like an umbrella. These are the things you put over food to stop the flies getting them. What do you think of that? All right, move that out of the way. That as well. And that, it's a monster. Done. Nothing's going to land on that. How cool is that? All right, mask off just to say goodbye.
How are we doing here? Heat joint all bubbles, screwdriver into joint, twist, separate, pull out with pliers. All right. Okay, I'm reading through all those things, and there we go. Yeah, much better than Netflix. Okay, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'm hoping I didn't bore you too much. As I said, it's just a midweek thing. I would have been doing this stuff anyway, but that's looking fantastic under there. I may not even need to hit it with the heat gun. I've got a couple of spots that have got bubbles. Just over in the corner there, the rest is magic. All right. Good. As I say, look after yourselves, be nice to each other, and hopefully keep your fingers crossed for me for this Friday that the NBN is connected without issue, and we shall see how it goes. Look after yourselves, be nice to each other, and I shall see you Sunday. Bye.